Hey, what's up, guys? I'm at the nature park right now, and there's a lot of things that I do that kind of bug me, but they're more or less kind of the way I am, and they've got some benefits to them too. One of those things is I kind of got shiny object syndrome. So it stems from a deep appreciation and a deep set inspiration for and of and from many different things. And that can be a good thing, and it can also kind of be like an inconvenient thing. So, yeah, a lot of my stuff, if you may have followed some of my stuff for a long time, you may be like a newish person. But one thing you've probably noticed is that for like about a week, 2 weeks, maybe a month, I'll go really hard on something and I'll be like, that's my new direction. And yeah, and then I'll go ghost for like a month, 2 months, even longer in some cases. And then I sit back and think, you know what? This should be my new direction. And then the cycle repeats until I'm like, no, this is my direction. No, this is my direction. And then I step way back and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should take a while and think about what I'm doing here. And it always just sort of ends up the same sort of way. So here's my new direction. I think if I'm ever gonna stick to, there's so many frogs around here. If I'm ever gonna stick to anything like this, what I'm gonna have to end up doing is just leaning into that full force. So yeah, I mean, sometimes I'll have optimism / positivity kind of content. Sometimes I'll do music stuff. Sometimes I'll do art stuff. Sometimes I'll just do talking camera stuff like this. But yeah, I mean, so I think my main pushback is that I know if I want to be successful in this medium, or I perceive, based on things that I look into, because at first it's all for the love, and then once I get pretty far into it, I think, hey, you know what? Maybe there's a chance in the world I could be successful at this. So maybe I should look into how to do that. And most of the sources will say, hey, you know what you should do is you should stick to one thing and be consistent with that. And then so I think, especially during times where I'm particularly motivated, I think, you know what? I can do that because of this and because of this. But I've been around the park enough times to know that doesn't usually end up being the case. Usually I end up going instead of these are some good years. Yeah, so yeah. Possibly for the for the sacrifice of success, of probably more streamlined, consistent success, I think I just gotta do what's natural to me, which is to be very scatterbrained. And if you're into like the Myers-Briggs kind of personality stuff, the MBTI, Myers-Briggs Type Indicator stuff, you may have already guessed that I'm what you would call an ENFP. And if you don't know what that is, it's really cool, but also, can be kind of frustrating in today's climate. And not just today's, but just kind of like the professional world in general. There are a lot of people who are ENFPs who find themselves some success, and especially in art fields. But I mean, it seems like it's pretty hard, because we as like a group, and can't stereotype, but me specifically, I have a hard time like kind of sticking with stuff. And I also, there's this function nicknamed authenticity that can kind of sometimes be difficult for a guy like me to kind of flower out until like I mature throughout my life. I realize this whole thing's just about me, but I'll tie it back to you in a sec. Leaving that in. But yeah, I mean, it's it can be pretty difficult. And geez, I'm sweaty. But yeah, I mean, I just gotta keep pushing forward, because a lot of the success stories, that's what they did, is they just kept pushing forward. And what they brought to the table, eventually, if there's one fish in the pond, right? You see that? Oh, I can't zoom in like that. If there's one fish in the pond, and that fish is in there, and you cast 10,000 times, you'll probably catch that fish. But if you cast, less than that, you might not catch the fish. And, and you might question, is there even a fish in the pond? Like, I know there is, but is it really possible for me to catch that fish? And the answer is maybe, maybe not. But how would it feel to go back home and know that that fish may still be out there, and that you're not going to go catch that fish because of your lack of belief in yourself? And, for me, personally, some people might be like, well, there's a supermarket across the street. I can just go get a fish there. And they're right. There are supermarkets, but I don't want to get a fish at the supermarket. I want to catch that fish. I want that experience of getting that thing out of the lake, of tussling with it, and to fry it up on my skillet, sorry, vegans, and enjoy it with the satisfaction of knowing that through persistence and through belief in myself and through acquired skill over time, that I was able to make it happen. And so I mean, that's why I always do different things. And I quit, but I get back into it, because I'm not just gonna cast once and be like, okay, well, I'll just sit here and hopefully this fish will be caught. I think it's possible for it to make it work that way, but I want to do 1,000 casts, because I have 10,000 casts. I have 10,000 casts in me. I know I do. And on one of those casts, I'm gonna catch the fish. And if you're anything like me, maybe that's what you should do. If you're able to be consistent, I think honestly that's going to be the best bet. But if you're not really consistent, don't give up because of it, because that is something. I got a phone call. that is going to be something that is really going to mess with your head, because one day you're going to die. And maybe when you die, it won't be so instant. And maybe when that happens, you'll think, man, I casted 99,999 times. And I gave up. What if on that 10,000th cast, I love these logs. What if on that 10,000th cast, I caught that fish? Man, I know I'm going to be dead soon, and it won't even matter, right? Because there's nothing you can do about dying, obviously, right now. But, I mean, probably not in my lifetime. Oh, this is way better lighting. What if there's something I could have done about it? And, you know, just like I don't want to go to the supermarket, I don't want to live a life where, metaphorically, I don't want to live a life where I dwell on what I could have done, and I want to live a life where, worst case scenario, where I try doing things that I think will work, and I fail. I fail really hard. But at least I know I tried. So, yeah, I mean, maybe one day I'll be like, oh, this is so the wrong direction. But this is going to be the direction that I'm going to take. And, you know, ultimately, I don't care if I'm like a big, like, YouTuber or a big internet personality. I mean, there are some people out there, yeah, I mean, there's like 70 of you guys right now, I think. 70-ish, something like that. And some of you really like to watch this stuff. And I think even if only like 3 of you stick with me, I think that's who I'm going to make this stuff for. Because one day, like I said, and I always got to go to this, but it's a good motivator. One day I'm going to be dead. And some of you are my friends in real life, and some of you might just vicariously like to look at this stuff. When I'm dead, you're gonna probably want to hang out with me some other times. And this is kind of like a virtual hangout session from beyond the grave, you know. Let's say I am dead right now, which, sorry, this might be really sad, but, you know, I love you, and if I'm dead, I'm good, you know. I'm not, you know, I mean, unless when you die, you're in excruciating pain, and it's like, oh, God, this sucks, I wish I was alive. You know, I don't know what happens after you die, and maybe there's nothing that happens after you die, and not the nothing a lot of people think. Maybe it's like, maybe life isn't even real. I mean, there's so many, we don't know anything. But what I'm saying is, I think the thing that's important to me is the people who this is important to. And, you know, that's who I really want to make this stuff for. And, you know, I also like to look back at this kind of stuff because, you know, I only continue to get older. And who knows how old I'll live to be. Maybe I'll be an old man. And I'll be like, oh, wow, I was such a strapping young gentleman back when we only had 4K, you know, or back before the, I don't know, there's so many possibilities for the future, and this video is already getting long. So if you've stuck through this whole thing, I really appreciate that. You know, comment down below if you stuck through the whole thing, and I'll give you a virtual high five. Asterisk, high five. Asterisk, and then probably like a nice little message. But I think I'm going to close that up here. But I just wanted to bring myself back to the channel. I still really like to make like stuff about being positive and things like that. But yeah, I mean, you know, when I try to stick to one thing, it kind of becomes like a persona almost. And it feels really disingenuous. And I don't know. I might look back and realize that this isn't the case, but I mean, you can tell I'm speaking through my heart because there's a lot less and you knows. Because I know I tend to do that when I like don't really know what I'm talking about. I do. There's but yeah. I mean, I'm sure you can tell that this is coming from a different place than a lot of those videos. And I think they're very important because you really want some good mojo and stuff. I'm trying to wrap up this video and I just keep talking longer. But I mean, maybe you don't mind hanging out with me. I mean, podcasts are sometimes 3 hours long and people just talk. But yeah. Yeah, so I've just been thinking about a lot of different things, and yeah, I just really want to make a lot of different changes in my life. And this is one of them, because I do want to make online videos, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm cut out for the whole YouTuber thing, but I definitely do really like to make videos, and I really like to have kind of a video diary, things like this. This is good stuff. So, anyway, I'm going to cut it off, and I'm not going to say anything after this. Peace out, guys. Oh, and there's a new outro song. I said I wouldn't do that. But there's a new outro song, and I'm working on kind of leading it in, because it's going to be really sudden. So it's going to happen in 3, 2, 1. Okay.